It's the amazing Goonthar. Jerry Lawler loves Goonthar the Magnificent. All hail Goonthar. Jerry Lawler loves Goonthar the Magnificent. All hail Goonthar. It's the amazing Goon.
This is your WWE Smackdown review. It is Friday, May 10, 2024. I am the Solomonster. Cody Rhodes has a challenger for King and Queen of the Ring in Saudi Arabia coming up at the end of this month. We were wondering, coming out of Backlash, would they rematch Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles, or would they tee up somebody new to get a crack at the undisputed title, because you had to know there was going to be a championship match here on this show coming up in a few weeks. And it is someone who I was not expecting this soon to be matched up with Cody and be getting an undisputed title match, but it will be Logan Paul challenging Cody Rhodes, one-on-one, champion against champion, and seemingly, even though they did not say these words, they did not confirm it, seemingly title for title in Saudi Arabia. This is not the first time that Logan Paul is getting a crack at the undisputed title on one of the Saudi shows. But it's going to go down here in just a few weeks. We also had the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments, which kicked off on Raw this past Monday night. Tonight, it was SmackDown turn, as you can see here from the SmackDown side of the King of the Ring bracket. You see the matches here. Randy Orton and AJ Styles, that was our main event tonight. Baron Corbin, back up on the main roster from NXT. One-on-one with a former NXT champion in Carmelo Hayes. LA Knight and Santos Escobar, which we did not see tonight. And Angelo Dawkins, taking the place of the supposedly injured Bobby Lashley, injured in training, to go one-on-one with Tonga, or Tonga, from the Bloodline. Over on the women's side, we didn't even know what the women's matches were going to be until tonight. They didn't bother telling us or giving us a graphic or anything, so here it is. Naomi against Nia Jax, Jade Cargill against Piper Niven, Michin against Tiffany Stratton, which we also did not see tonight, and Bianca Belair one-on-one with Candice LeRae. Lots of short matches on the show tonight. And look, I understand that SmackDown is a 2-hour show, Raw is 3, but that's one of the things I really liked about the tournament matches on Monday night. And Raw was the clear winner of the week. I mean, if you're going to compare the two tournaments as far as all the tournament matches that we got, I mean, nothing was going to compare to Gunther against Sheamus and Ilya Dragunov against Ricochet, both of which took place on the same night. There was nothing on this show, even with a very good main event, nothing on this show that was going to come close to matching what we got just in that one King of the Ring tournament alone on Monday night. But I was hoping for a little bit more than what we got from the tournament matches. Even worse, they saved LA Knight's match and Tiffany Stratton's match for the house shows this weekend. And it's not that I mind them doing house show matches that have stakes to them, but the fact that they took those two matches, so we had LA Knight, one of the most popular stars on the entire brand, and Tiffany Stratton, one of the most popular stars, up-and-comers on SmackDown, and we did not even see them on the show tonight. No promo, no nothing. They kept their tournament matches off, and they saved it for the non-televised events this weekend. I thought that was a fail. But the quarterfinals now, coming up next week, are nearly set. We'll see how these matches play out on the live events coming up this weekend. I'm not expecting any surprises. I mean, you look at the two matches with Knight and Stratton in their respective tournaments. I don't see any surprises going on there. Overall, I thought it was a good episode of SmackDown. Not great. I just wish there was some more meat on the bone when it came to some of these tournament matches. And we got another interesting little development in the Bloodline story. We know that Paul Heyman said previously that he has not spoken with Roman Reigns since WrestleMania. He lied when he said that Roman wanted to pull himself from the draft a few weeks ago. So we knew that Paul Heyman lied about that. Solo SIKOA threw that right back at his face tonight and said that, well, unlike you, he did speak with Roman Reigns. And until Roman is ready to come back, Paul Heyman is now Solo's wise man. Or at least that's what Solo claims. So that was the big Bloodline development tonight. This is your SmackDown review, as I said, for May 10th, 2024. I am the Solomonster. Thank you for joining me here for your end of the week review. Do me a favor and like. 400 likes is the goal here for the video tonight. If we hit 400 likes, we will do Be the Booker a little bit later on. We cut it close on Wednesday night, so let's not do that again tonight. I am very happy to say, though, we are less than 40 subscribers away, 40, from hitting 80,000 here on the channel. I don't know that we're going to do it tonight. It's possible, but if you have not already done so, you can get me there a lot quicker if you hit that subscribe button. So please go ahead and do so. I am very happy to see how close to 80K that we are. Solo to Paul, I'm the captain now. That's basically what he said. Basically what Solo SIKOA told Paul Heyman tonight. He goes, I'm the captain now. He didn't say it as well. So SmackDown General Manager Nick Aldis opened the show in the ring to introduce the undisputed WWE Champion Cody Rhodes to the ring. And the crowd here in Wilkes-Barre gave Cody, the reaction they gave Cody Rhodes, they gave him an ovation so loud I thought they were back in France. That's how loud they were for Cody. Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, those are the two people on the show tonight that these people were loud for at the beginning of the show and then again at the end. So Aldis says he knows that Cody has said that he wants to be a fighting champion. And with that in mind, he has a challenger for him. His next challenger for the title has officially been determined, and there is no better time to introduce that person than right now. And I will tell you that I half thought that Aldis himself was going to clobber Cody Rhodes right then and there. Because look, I mean, Aldis is one of the people who actually has a win over Cody Rhodes. Now, it's not in WWE, but he does have an NWA title win. There is history there. 2 matches, 2 NWA title matches in the past between these two men. So I thought there was a chance they were going to be like, all right, you know what, Aldis, we know you want to wrestle here in this company. We'll throw you a bone. We'll give you a match in Saudi Arabia. But then I realized he had surgery not that long ago to repair a torn bicep. So he could be on the shows every week because he's not getting physical. But as far as getting involved in a match, yeah, that's not happening right now. So it was not Nick Aldis, but it was Logan Paul. Yes, the same Logan Paul who currently holds the United States Championship. Logan Paul walked out And by the way, the same Logan Paul who wrestled Roman Reigns about 18 months ago in Saudi Arabia for the undisputed WWE title. It's happening again. Something about Saudi. So he's getting another title shot. Cody says he thinks he knows what Logan wants to talk about. And Logan said yes. Main eventing the king and queen of the ring, PLE, champion against champion, to truly kick off what he is now calling the Logan Paul Levesque era. You see what he did there? The Logan Paul Levesque era. Very nice. So we got loud chants of Logan sucks. Cody said that he likes champion against champion because holding not one but two, and then Logan cut him off. And he said that, look, I've got some facts for you. He, not Cody, is the longest reigning champion right now in WWE. He is the greatest attraction in the company. He had the greatest rookie year of all time. And he is a superstar. But Cody is a superstar too. He says, right, Cody? Says you won the 2023 Royal Rumble, but what does everybody remember from that night? It's Logan's viral collision in midair with Ricochet. Boy, he's still milking that for all it's worth, huh? And yes, Cody won the title at WrestleMania this year, but what was everyone talking about? They were talking about iShow Speed and Prime. His ideas, his moments, and look who's taking all the credit. 3 years ago, another fact. Cody and Logan debuted at WrestleMania on the same night. So at this point, the fans started chanting, Prime sucks. And since then, he said, he has been the rocket fuel on the spaceship that is WWE. You know, I can't hear anybody say rocket fuel in a promo, I think for the rest of my life, and not think of Dixie Carter. When they had the press conference here in New York to introduce Hulk Hogan to TNA, and she said that Hogan was going to be the rocket fuel that TNA needed. Every time I hear rocket fuel, I think of delusional Dixie putting over Hulk Hogan. Little did she know. So how can Cody finish the story when it's not even his story, he said. Let's talk about him knocking Cody out and pinning him on top of his logo to walk out of Saudi Arabia as the undisputed WWE champion. Can you imagine that? After all of this build-up to Cody finishing his story and that great match of WrestleMania with Roman Reigns and John Cena getting involved and The Rock getting involved, and The Undertaker getting involved, and Cody wins the championship, and then 2 months later, not even 2 months later, he gets pinned in Saudi Arabia on top of a Prime bottle logo by Logan Paul. You know how fucking stupid that would be? That would be pretty fucking stupid. So Cody said he bets a lot of people stand across from Logan and they assume, hey, what a dumbass. As fun as that would be, he's not going to call him a podcaster, a YouTuber, an influencer, an outsider. He's gotten a sense of who Logan Paul really is. He's the guy who went toe-to-toe with Floyd Mayweather. And 4th or 5th match, he won the United States Championship. Since they're going over facts, the fact is that if he was to win that U.S. title, that would make him he being Cody, he said that would make him a WWE Grand Slam champion. In addition to all of the positive things he said Logan is, he is also disrespectful, self-centered, and delusional, and he's out here taking credit for something that doesn't belong to him. It doesn't even belong to Cody himself. He said it is a team. And in Saudi Arabia, he is going to find out where he stands on that team. And at that point, Cody held up his title. Logan did the same. He held up the U.S. title to close out the segment. I was thinking that they were going to do one more match between Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles in Saudi with a stipulation until I saw that AJ Styles was added to the opening round of the King of the Ring. And it was against Randy Orton. And at that point, I knew, well, A, he's in the King of the Ring. And number 2, he's facing Randy Orton. I did not expect AJ Styles to beat Randy Orton, which would free him up now for the King of the Ring pay-per-view where he has no match. But that means he loses twice. And at that point, which is exactly what happened, by the way, And at that point, how do you justify him being put back in a WWE Championship match? I mean, it would have been difficult to justify to begin with because he went in there and he lost clean last weekend, and it was an excellent match. It was one of the better WWE matches of the year so far. It's a great match. Even Dave couldn't help but give the match 5 stars. He doesn't do that very often in WWE. So it would have been difficult, but you could have swung it. You could have had AJ come out and cut a promo, and they do this all the time where you get 2-3 matches out of a program. But again, once I saw that he was in the first round against Randy, I said he's going to lose to Randy. He already lost to Cody. At that point, it's dead. That's it. You got to move on. And that's exactly what happened. It's too early to be doing this match. It's too early to be doing this match. I mean, if you want to do Cody and Logan Paul at some point, first of all, I would wait until Logan Paul is no longer the United States champion. So that's number one. But even if you wanted to do champion against champion, it just feels too soon to be doing this match. But I know why they are. I know exactly why they're doing this match. And all you have to do is look at the SmackDown roster, and it's not hard to tell. It's not hard to see why they're doing this match now. There aren't a lot of very good options for Cody Rhodes. If you are not going to do a rematch with AJ, what does that leave you with? Realistically, what does that leave you with when you look at this roster? It leaves you with Randy Orton, which is going to be a match at some point, and you can't blow through that match now. As early as it is to do Cody and Logan, it would be stupid to just jump right into Cody and Randy at this moment. Now, you can't do that. Randy you have to save for later on. Kevin Owens is a babyface, and I don't think that they want to be splitting the crowd reaction right now. And you could say they would be doing that with Randy as well. Another reason why I would hold off on Randy. Randy, though, I feel like should be a heel when that time comes, or at least he should go heel at some point during that program. Kevin Owens, though, you don't want to split the crowd reaction. Owens, they're doing a storyline injury angle with him anyway, coming out of Backlash where he got injured by the Bloodline. Same thing with LA Knight. I don't think you want to be splitting that crowd reaction between two baby faces. And it doesn't do LA Knight any good if he's going to go in there and lose anyway. So you take those 3 guys out. What does that leave you with? Bobby Lashley. He's out hurt. Can't go with him. Then you get people like Carmelo Hayes, and it's too soon. I mean, he wrestled Hayes anyway on TV a few weeks ago. I don't want to see Cody Rhodes against Solo SIKOA. Solo SIKOA can't win a fucking match to save his life anyway these days. So that, to me, that's a boring match. I don't want that match. I'd rather have Cody and Logan Paul. That is the much better match than Cody and Solo would be anyway. So keep Cody away from the Bloodline for a while, please. We don't need to go back to that right away. That's all you got. There really is not any other realistic option. That's why we're ending up with Logan Paul. It's basically, and I hate to say this because Logan Paul, you know, he is one of the bigger names that they have on the roster, and he's a champion, but it's a filler match. That's what this is. It's a filler match. We have a gap here between now and Money in the Bank. We have to fill it with somebody. Who do we put in there with Cody? We've already made the decision to pivot away from AJ. We'll go with Logan Paul. And that's basically what they're doing here. Now, I think the match itself is going to be really good. One thing I will say about Logan Paul is that he has taken to this very quickly and very well. And if you look at his body of work, and I'm not even talking tag matches, you have somebody who doesn't have a lot of experience. You can hide them in a tag team match. We've seen Logan Paul in plenty of singles matches at this point, including the match I mentioned before with Roman Reigns. That was a really good match at Crown Jewel. The match with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. Excellent match. He's had other matches on television with other people as well. WrestleMania this year with Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. That was also very good. We have seen Logan Paul go in there and impress in ways that he should not be able to for somebody with the level of experience that he has. He's a great athlete. He's a tremendous athlete. So I have no doubt in my mind that Cody Rhodes and Logan Paul is going to be a very good match in Saudi Arabia, just bell to bell from a match perspective. But that brings me now to the finish here, because what do you do in this situation? If this is going to be title for title, and they did not verbally say that, but that is how they left the segment, with Cody talking about how he would love to become a Grand Slam champion, both men holding up their respective titles. It's champion against champion, title for title. We've seen situations before. John Cena and Seth Rollins comes to mind at SummerSlam back in 2015, where you have champion against champion, world title, US title. Seth Rollins walked out with 2 titles that night. It could happen again. Cody Rhodes, let's just game this out. He wins the US title. And then what? You're going to have Cody get pinned to lose the US title, but not the WWE title? Are you going to have Cody win the US title and then vacate it? Well, then why bother doing this in the first place? I don't like the idea of Cody Rhodes winning the US title because it is completely unnecessary, which leaves only one other option, which is that we're going to get some kind of fuck finish, a screw job, screwball type of finish, a disqualification, a non-finish. That's what we're going to end up with most likely in Saudi Arabia. And who knows, maybe that then paves the way for another match between those two men. I don't know, but I'm not looking at this match and I'm not seeing a clean finish when all is said and done. Because I don't think either man should be losing their title in this match. You know, LA Knight, I would like to see him be the one to take the US title from Logan Paul. It would give him something to do at a time when it feels like there really is no direction for him. Save the US title and save a program with Logan Paul for him for SummerSlam. Keep the title on Logan. Certainly don't take the title off of Cody, which they're not going to. Not when Cody has that match waiting in the wings with The Rock. You know, he's not losing to Logan Paul in Saudi Arabia. So it's just an odd match to be doing as far as the time. But as a match, I have no doubt it'll be very good. I just wouldn't be doing it right now. Backstage, AJ Styles was interviewed. He said that he had Cody Rhodes beat at Backlash, but he got distracted. I guess he got distracted by the crowd. I don't know. What else did he get distracted by? The crowd was very loud for him. They were chanting for him and they were cheering for him. You go back and look when the camera was bobbing up and down, shaking at the beginning of the match before Cody made his entrance, like literally shaking. AJ's just looking out of the crowd. He could not chew that gum any faster. He was feverishly chewing that gum, probably to stop himself from smiling and reacting to it, because he probably couldn't believe that they were so loud. But he says he was distracted at Backlash. He said the next time he meets Cody, he will beat him, and winning King of the Ring would be a step in that direction. We then had our first tournament match of the night, which was a Queen of the Ring tournament match, and it was Nia Jax going one-on-one with Naomi. First round, Queen of the Ring tournament match. Nia had control early, and with Naomi in the corner, she ran at her. Naomi moved, and Nia ran into the ring post. Naomi hit a suicide dive to Nia outside, but Nia came back with a Samoan drop on the floor. That took us into the commercial break. Naomi eventually went for a sunset flip into the ring, and Nia tried to sit on her, but Naomi moved, and she then tried a clothesline and a back elbow. It was a modified disaster kick that took down Nia, or took her to her knees. Naomi hit a split-legged moonsault for a near fall. Naomi hit a leaping elbow, and then she lifted Nia up onto sit her on the top rope. Naomi went to the top. She hit a top rope Frankensteiner. It sent Nia flying through the air. Big reaction from the crowd. She covered her, only got a 2 count. And at this point, it was very noticeable that Naomi was having a wardrobe malfunction. They blacked out the screen a few different times. I couldn't really tell why at first. Didn't really make sense. But Naomi kept fiddling around with her top. So it looked like maybe one of the straps came off. And this woman, I mean, she was fighting for her life in there. She was just struggling and trying to cover up and shield herself as much as possible. But it was clear that this was a red alert situation here for her. She hit a series of super kicks until Nia caught her, scooped her up, powerbombed her. Nia hit the ropes and came off with a leg drop, followed that up with the Annihilator, and picked up the win. It was a decent match. I thought Nia, more than usual, because Nia's had some good matches this year. This was not one of the better matches that she's had. She just sort of felt like she was lumbering around in there for most of the match. And then Naomi had her wardrobe malfunction, and she seemed more concerned about just trying to cover up than anything else. So it was decent. This was not great. Naomi also, by the way, continues to lose far more than she wins. And I'm not talking about tag matches. I'm talking about singles. Her singles record, if you look up her singles record so far this year, it's putrid. She is not having a good time as far as singles matches go this year. So Nia Jax advances to the quarterfinal round. I want to give a shout out here before we go on to a couple of $50 Gunther bombs that came in before I even went live. I know my boy Justin Coggies. Where you at, Coggies? I know Coggies is in here somewhere. Shout out to him for his $50 bomb, and Colin C as well. I'm going to get to your messages and everybody else's in a little bit here, I promise. I just wanted to give you guys some love here before we go on and remind everybody that super chats are open. Byron Saxton was in the back to interview Baron Corbin. Look who's back. Baron Corbin is back on the main roster, and he talked about how he found himself in NXT when Carmelo Hayes walked in, and he very condescendingly asked Corbin, hey, when did you get drafted? Like he didn't even know he was on the show. Hayes gave Corbin some advice, said that he should have pulled out of the King of the Ring the way that Bobby Lashley did when he realized that Hayes would run circles around him. And that led into a first-round King of the Ring tournament match where we had Baron Corbin, himself a former King of the Ring winner, one-on-one with Carmelo Hayes. I will say this, his time away in NXT has done Corbin a world of good. Hayes landed a springboard clothesline and a facebuster for 2. Corbin came back with a Death Valley driver. Hayes hit the first 48, went to the top. Corbin moved. He clotheslined the hell out of him. He turned Hayes inside out. Corbin then hit a suplex cutter combo for a near fall. Corbin went for the end of days. Hayes rolled through, and he rolled up Corbin for the 3 count to advance to the next round of the tournament. This was a good match for the 6 minutes they gave them, so it didn't go very long. It is still weird to see Corbin playing babyface on the main roster, but the fans took to him here in the role just fine. And look, I have given Baron Corbin, and I think rightfully, frankly, a lot of shit over the years. Some of it is because I just thought he was very boring at times. Other times it was entirely the gimmick that they had him portraying. I thought Corbin was at his best when he was broke and he lost all of his money and he was walking around with a spaghetti stain on his shirt. That was Baron Corbin at his best on the main roster. And then he hit the lottery or whatever happened and he became Happy Corbin. It was just awful. Awful. Saddled with one terrible fucking gimmick after another and just boring as shit. If anybody could have benefited from some time away, it was Baron Corbin. And he did. He went to NXT. He got to work with some of the younger developing talents there. He shed all of these horrible gimmicks. He had a good thing going there with Braun Breaker as the Wolf Dogs there for a while. They won the NXT Tag Team titles. He was like, you push the reboot button on this guy. And now I look at this as a clean slate. And I'm willing to give Baron Corbin a chance in a way that I wasn't before, because to me it was just, you know what? This is not going to work. This guy is saddled with a terrible gimmick. He's been doing it forever. I don't give a shit. And it just felt like this was it. This was as good as it was going to get. So now I'm looking at him and I'm saying, you know what? The guy's a solid worker. And maybe they can actually find something for him to do. It's a fresh start for him. No more stupid gimmicks. No more King. No more Constable. No more Happy or Sad or whatever fucking gimmick they had him doing before. Now he gets to go out there and be himself. The question is, will they actually push him? Or is he going to be a springboard for everybody else? I don't know. I tend to think it's going to be the latter and not the former. For his sake, I hope not. But either way, Carmelo Hayes going over here was the right call. Doesn't change the fact that that was the correct move to make. Randy Orton was interviewed in the back by Baron Corbin. See, that's what happens when I look over and I see Jason Barker the tribal chief of the IWC has just become a sound-off superstar and dropped a $5 super chat. So Jason, shout out to you, my friend. I will read your message here in just a little bit. Don't go nowhere. Jason, thank you, man. Welcome to the channel. Randy Orton was interviewed backstage by Byron Saxton, and Orton said that he has accomplished a lot during his WWE career. I mean, what hasn't he done? Think about all the years that this man has been working in this company for. I mean, what hasn't he done? He's headlined WrestleMania. He's won the Royal Rumble more than once. He's been a World Heavyweight Champion. He's been a WWE Champion. He's been the Intercontinental Champion. He's been a Tag Team Champion. What is left for him to do? I don't know if he's won the U.S. title. I can't remember. I don't actually remember if Randy Orton ever held the U.S. title. But other than that, he's pretty much done everything there is to do. But he has never been King of the Ring. He said AJ Styles is great, but it will feel phenomenal to hit an RKO on him later on. Orton then delivered a message to Tama Tonga. He looked directly into the camera, and he got serious. And he said that he has not forgotten about how he and the Bloodline took out his friend Kevin Owens at Backlash. And he said that when he crosses paths with Tama Tonga, even though he's all the way on the other side of the bracket on the SmackDown side, Orton's up here, Tama Tonga's down there, they would both have to advance all the way to the semifinals to face each other. But even still, it will not be out of nowhere when they meet, and he will make sure that Tama sees it coming. Little foreshadowing, perhaps, of what's to come. That's right, he did. He did win the U.S. title. He lost it to Jinder Mahal. So wait a minute. Randy Orton lost the WWE title and the U.S. title at two different times to Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal is like the kryptonite for Randy Orton. I knew that he lost the WWE title to Jinder. I don't remember him losing the U.S. title to him. Kind of weird. I guess he did. That's right. In a four-way at WrestleMania 34. Not one of the better WrestleManias. I would know because I was there. I had to sit through it. We had Jade Cargill one-on-one with Piper Niven, first-round Queen of the Ring tournament match. This right here was, I looked at this as the first real test for Jade. This was the first real competitive one-on-one match for Jade Cargill since debuting here on the WWE main roster. And I thought she did well, and I thought that Piper Niven was a great opponent for her. So the two of them traded shoulder blocks. Neither woman would move. Finally, Jade hit one. She took down Piper. Niven came right back, caught Jade, slammed her, and then hit a running senton for a 2 count. And with Jade draped over the middle rope, Chelsea Green, who was outside in her partner's corner, she slapped Jade behind the referee's back. So Niven slammed Jade and hit a short arm clothesline. And then she picked her up and she did it again. She went for a third. Jade blocked it and hit a blue thunder bomb to Piper Niven. Now, it didn't have the spin that Sammy usually has on his, but nonetheless, she still hit a blue thunder bomb, which was very impressive. Jade hit a pair of stinger splashes in the corner and then punched Chelsea off the apron. She teased the Jaded. Niven blocked it, knocked Jade down before hitting a cannonball in the corner. Piper then tried to climb to the top. Jade cut her off, hit a pump kick, and then got her up for Jaded. She couldn't hold her up there for too long, but she got her up, and she dropped her face first. She covered her. Fox was playing games again. You know, Jade has that very sensual pin when she defeats her opponent, where she leans back and she licks her hand. And she went to go do that, and the screen blacked out. So, fuck you, Fox. Of all the things on Fox, of all the programming on Fox, all the reality garbage this network has aired over the years, they blacked the screen for that. You fucking kidding me? Jade advances to the next round. This was, I'm gonna say here, that this was the best Jade Cargill singles match of her career that I have seen since her last match in AEW against Chris Statlander, which was the best match of her career. That second match with Statlander was the best match she ever had. this may be number 2. I don't remember all of the television matches, all the TBS title defenses offhand that she had. There may have been one that was pretty good. I vaguely remember a match that she had with Anna Jay, but this was up there among the best matches that she's had. And there is still work to be done in the ring in a lot of ways, but she already looks the part. She carries herself like a megastar. We already know this. She's got an unbelievable entrance and presentation when she comes to the ring, and the music and the camera angle when she poses and everything. Like, they have gone all in on this woman. The ring work will come with time, and that will come working with people like Piper and Niven, who are great at what they do. So I thought that Jade looked fine here. I thought Piper, it was nice to see her have a competitive match. When was the last time we saw Piper Niven have a competitive match on TV? Especially a singles match. So I like this. I like this. And again, the in-ring with Jade, it's coming around. It's not fully there yet, but it's coming around. So as Jade was leaving, they played her partner's music, and out walks the other half of the women's tag team champions, Bianca Belair. And they posed in the aisleway, and then Jade wished her luck, and Bianca headed to the ring for her first round match in the Queen of the Ring tournament, this one against Candice LeRae. The match spilled outside early on. Bianca swung Candice into the barricade at ringside. Indy Hartwell was out there, and when Bianca went to go climb back into the ring, referee didn't see it, she blasted Bianca in the knee. So as soon as she got back into the ring, Indy, or rather Candice, tried to take advantage of this, and she went for a small package. It was hilarious because she went to go roll her up, and Bianca just stuffed it. She just stood there, and Candice went nowhere, and instead Bianca muscled her up, didn't even plant her first, and then pick her up for a suplex. In like mid-small package attempt, she just muscled her up into a vertical suplex, and then dropped her, which I thought that looked cool. Then we got the punches in the corner from Bianca, standing on the middle rope. Bianca then backflipped onto her feet, which is not a smart thing to do when somebody just blasted you in the knee. And in fact, as soon as she landed, she started selling the knee. So at that point, Candice honed in on that, targeted the injury, until Bianca powered her up, hit the KOD, and pinned her. This did not even go a full 3 minutes. Bianca Belair advances to the next round of the Queen of the Ring. Not much of a match, a very predictable finish. I mean, Candice LeRae is not winning anything. This woman could run for office. I don't even care what the position is. It could be water commissioner, it could be congresswoman, it could be senator, senatorette, whatever. She could run for office in her hometown unopposed. She still would not win. This woman is not winning anything. We go backstage. We are in the Bloodline locker room, and we see Solo SIKOA, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa. Paul Heyman walks in, and he asked for a moment alone with Solo. The others stayed anyway. Heyman said, "I know my place in this world, and it's as the wise man for Roman Reigns." And he said, "Solo, you're making decisions," and then he got cut off by Solo. Solo said, well, speaking of making decisions, Solo made reference to Heyman's decision to pull Roman Reigns from the draft. And as a result of that decision, instead of the Bloodline going in the first round of the draft, the Bloodline went in the third round of the draft. And Solo said, "Are you trying to take food off the table so I can't feed my children? Are you trying to take money out of my pocket?" And Heyman, of course, was like, no, of course not. Of course I'm not trying to do that. So he referenced Heyman's claim that he hasn't spoken with Roman Reigns since WrestleMania. You haven't spoken with him since Mania, right? And Heyman said, "That's right." And Solo said, "Well, I have." And this stunned Paul Heyman. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. And Solo said, "Until he gets back, I'm in charge of the Bloodline." And Heyman is now his wise man. Told Paul that he loved him, pulled him in for a big hug, The look on Solo's face, though, as he pulled him in for that hug, and you could see Tonga Loa standing in the background very menacingly. Between that, the look on Solo's face, it said it all. Do I believe that Solo SIKOA really spoke with Roman Reigns? No. No, I did not. Did he speak to The Rock? Possibly. But did he speak to Roman Reigns? Absolutely not. I don't believe that for a second. And I'll tell you what, when Roman Reigns does return, it's this type of storytelling here that is going to keep the bloodline interesting. Once Roman Reigns comes back, it adds a whole other dimension to things now that wasn't there. It's going to feel totally different when Roman comes back, and it may not be for a few more months. But think about where we were when Roman Reigns was last on TV, right? It was his bloodline. Solo was still the silent enforcer. Although if you notice, in that main event against Cody at WrestleMania on night 2, towards the end of the match, but right before John Cena came out, Solo, we were starting to see Solo was getting animated here. You know, Roman was trying to beat Cody, and it wasn't working, and Solo was yelling at him. You know, get up, finish him off. So we started to see this side of Solo SIKOA even in the main event of WrestleMania this year. But there was no Tonga, there was no Tonga Loa, there was no Jacob Fatu, who we will see at some point. When he comes back, it's just going to be a totally different situation than before when he left. So it just adds another layer to this story to try to keep things interesting, and it was a nice little wrinkle here. Because I don't believe for a second that he has actually been speaking with Roman Reigns. Roman, I'm sure, will not be very happy about this when he comes back. Speaking of the bloodline, we had Tonga in action next. First round King of the Ring tournament match against Angelo Dawkins of the Street Profits. In place of Bobby Lashley, who we were told suffered an injury in training. Was he really injured in training, or did they just decide we don't want to beat him in the opening round of this tournament, which would beg the question, then why put him in the match in the first place? Is he hurt? Is he not hurt? I don't know. If he really is hurt, I wish him well. I hope it's nothing too serious and he can come back soon. Otherwise, B-Fab and the Street Profits are just going to be like a rudderless ship until he eventually is able to come back. So for their sake, I certainly hope he's not going to be gone for an extended period of time. Tonga, he hit a nasty lariat in the corner. Dawkins avoided a running splash and fired back with some lariats of his own. He landed a running back elbow and a splash. Dawkins hit the ropes. He pounced the hell out of Tonga. He pounced this man so hard he went flying out of the ring. So to the outside he goes. Solo SIKOA at that point jumped up on the apron. Dawkins, he don't care. He went over and punched him right back down. Montez Ford then on the outside, he took out Solo on the floor. But then Tonga Loa gets involved. And he has Montez Ford restrained. Angelo Dawkins is watching what's about to happen. Solo SIKOA delivers the Samoan spike to Montez Ford. Dawkins, he doesn't leave the ring, but he walks over to the ropes. He's completely distracted by what's going on. And then Tama was able to, when he turned around, land a leaping flatliner, and he pinned Angelo Dawkins for the win. By a show of hands here in the chat, how many of you honestly believe that Angelo Dawkins was going to beat Tonga? No hands? Exactly. That's what I thought. A lot of predictability on this show tonight. I think a lot more than on Monday night. These matches were far more predictable tonight. And this was also part of the pattern of very short matches for the most part that we saw on tonight's show. This went a little over 2 minutes. This match did. No surprise to see Tama advance also because, and he would have advanced anyway, even if Lashley was in the match, but just based purely on Randy Orton's promo earlier, he directed his anger towards Tonga and all but said, I will see you later in this tournament. I will see you at some point. So you knew Tonga was not losing this match. The main event on this show was Randy Orton one-on-one with the phenomenal loser, AJ Styles, fresh off of his loss to Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, at Backlash France. Still got WrestleMania on the brain after I just talked about it. I was wondering, by the way, speaking of France, I was wondering if the fans singing Randy Orton's theme song would catch on here in the States. The answer is yes. At least during the chorus of the song, you could hear the crowd singing along to Orton's theme. So we'll see if this becomes a regular thing every week or not. But the answer is yes. It seemed like it did rub off on these people here in Wilkes-Barre. So Orton dropped AJ on the barricade outside early on in the match, and then dropped him on top of the announce desk. Orton did a second drop, planted him right on top of the announce desk, didn't break, and then he bowed to the crowd. Back inside, Styles went to work on Orton's knee with a drop kick. Then he hit a running chop block. Orton rolled to the floor. Styles exited. He did a lap around the ring to build up a head of steam, and he caught him with another running chop block to the same knee. And down goes Randy Orton. Show went to its final commercial break at that point. Styles, in the meantime, he continued to focus on Randy Orton's knee once they came back from commercial. Orton fought back. He hit a European uppercut, which took AJ to the apron. From there, Styles yanked Orton's knee over the middle rope, and then he set up for a phenomenal forearm. But Orton cut him off, and he knocked Styles off the rope. He basically just kind of pushed him. Styles lost his footing. He took a nasty spill back into the ring. Styles came back, though. He worked a calf crusher. Orton was in pain. He managed to turn it into a rear chin lock. His favorite hold of Randy Orton's specialty. Don't forget the chin locks. So he worked a chin lock to get out of it. Orton followed that up with a snap power slam. He put AJ on the top rope. AJ slipped out of whatever Orton was going to do. Orton caught him anyway, though, for a draping DDT. So now Randy is setting up for an RKO. He goes for it. Styles, though, pushes him away. And then he goes for the phenomenal forearm. And this time, AJ connects with it. Perfect. Knocks him down. And Randy, I wouldn't say he's close to the ropes. He's not terribly close to the ropes. But he gets covered. The referee counts 1. The referee counts 2. Orton had to kind of drag his body over a little bit. It was close, but he reached up and was able to grab the bottom rope to get the rope break. Styles signaled for a Styles clash. Orton pushed him away, hit the RKO out of nowhere, and he got the pin to advance to the next round of the tournament, just like that. AJ Styles, a 2-time loser in less than a week. First to Cody Rhodes, and now to Randy Orton. I fear that AJ is going to be headed back to mid-card obscurity after this. I think that's where he's headed. But this was easily the best match on the entire show, and the only tournament match that got any real time. They got just shy of 20 minutes here. But again, I enjoyed this. This was good. Orton selling the knee. Keep that in mind. I'm going to get back to that in a second. What I want to talk about now, let's go back to Queen of the Ring. Okay, because now we have a little more sense of where we're at here in these tournaments. Queen of the Ring, on the Raw side, if you did not see the show on Monday, Zoe Stark is facing Lyra Valkyria this coming Monday because they both advanced in the tournament. So we got Zoe against Lyra, and Io Sky is going to meet the winner of the match coming up this weekend at the live events. They didn't say which one. It's kind of stupid, you know, if you want to use it as a way to help promote your live events, you would think that they would tell you which live event these matches are going to be taking place. They didn't tell us which date. They didn't tell us which city. They said nothing. All they said is that these matches, and there's a couple of others from Raw Monday that didn't happen on TV, they're happening this weekend at the WWE live events. Okay, thanks. Where? When? A city? Something? Nothing. What's the point? They didn't tell us. But whoever wins that match between Shayna Baszler and Zelina Vega, which of course will be Shayna Baszler, is going to face Io Sky on Raw this coming Monday. So I look at these matches here. To me, I think it's Io Sky moving on. On the Raw side, I think Io Sky is going to move on. Now we look at these SmackDown matches tonight. What did we have? We had Nia Jax beating Naomi. We had Jade Cargill beating Piper Niven. We had Bianca Belair beating Candice LeRae. Now, the one match we did not get on this show was Tiffany Stratton against Michin. That will be happening at a live event this weekend. Good luck figuring out which one. Buy your tickets and keep your fingers crossed if you want to see Tiffany Stratton. Which means one of two things here. Well, actually, this is what I see. Jade Cargill and Nia Jax, we already know that's happening. So that's happening in the quarterfinals. Jade is facing Nia. I think we're in for Bianca Belair against Tiffany Stratton. Those are two pretty big quarterfinal round matches. And you also have the possibility here that we could be headed towards Bianca Belair against Jade Cargill. Right? Tag team champions, one-on-one. I don't think that's going to happen. But that is the possibility the way these brackets are set up. So the question is, what are we looking at in the semifinals? Are we looking at Nia Jax against Bianca Belair? Or are we looking at Jade Cargill against Tiffany Stratton? Because I think it's one of those two matches. And I look at those two matches, what makes more sense? It's very easy to look and see that Jade Cargill is in the tournament, so of course they're going to make Jade Cargill Queen of the Ring. I wouldn't be so quick to jump to that conclusion. I'm looking at this, and here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that we're going to get Bianca Belair against Nia Jax, with Bianca Belair going over and facing Io Sky in the finals of the Queen of the Ring. That's what I'm thinking. And one of the reasons, if not the main reason, that I am thinking that, first of all, I don't think they want to do Bianca against Jade. I could be wrong, and maybe they'll do it, like an exhibition between two friends. May the best woman win. I don't think you want to jump to that right now. And not only because they're tag team champions, I just don't think you don't want to do that match yet. But we don't know yet, because they haven't told us exactly what the stakes are in either one of these tournaments. The only thing we have to go by is a promo that Gunther cut a couple weeks ago when he first declared himself for the King of the Ring, where he said that he's going to win King of the Ring, and then he's going to go on to challenge for the championship of his choosing. It was something to that effect. He was teasing that he could go after the World Heavyweight title. He was teasing that he might go after the Intercontinental title. They have not yet told us what exactly is on the line, if anything, in these tournaments. If we assume that the Queen of the Ring will be eligible to challenge for the Women's World title, okay, on either brand or on her brand, right, the WWE Women's title, they have been teasing bad blood on the part of Bianca towards Bayley now for a while. Okay, we know that Bianca does not like Bayley. We've seen that in promos. We've seen that in backstage segments. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking Bianca wins Queen of the Ring and then gets a women's title match against Bayley. That is something that they were sort of building to. Right? We didn't know when they might do it, especially now that she won the tag belts, but I could see that being the end result of this here. And we get Bianca against Bayley for the women's title. That's why I am leaning right now towards Bianca Belair. It's just the feeling I have, and that's just what I'm looking at this and I'm saying, I feel like that's the way that they're going to go with this. We switch over though to King of the Ring. On the Raw side, Gunther has advanced. Beat Sheamus on Monday night. He's moving on. Gunther is going to face the winner of Kofi Kingston against Rey Mysterio, which is taking place at a live event this weekend. Which one? I don't know. We know that Ilya Dragunov is going to be wrestling Jey Uso. That's a very interesting clash of styles there. That's going to be happening on Raw this Monday night. Gunther is going to move on. It doesn't matter who it is. I think it's going to be Kofi Kingston. Kofi's going to go in there trying to defend the honor of Xavier Woods, who was injured in storyline by Gunther. Gunther is going to go on in this tournament. But as far as Dragunov and Jey Uso, based on what happened on Monday, Drew McIntyre did not look very happy when Jey won the match. Jey took his place in the match against Finn Balor. I think McIntyre's going to play a role in his loss, assuming Jey Uso loses on Monday. And I just really want to see Gunther and Ilya Dragunov. Gunther, either way, is going to move on. We look at the SmackDown matches, and what did we have tonight? We had Carmelo Hayes beating Baron Corbin. We had Tama Tonga beating Angelo Dawkins. We had Randy Orton beating AJ Styles. And this weekend, we're going to have LA Knight and he's going to go in there and he's going to beat Santos Escobar. At that point, based on the positioning of the brackets, which I guess I'll throw them up for you here, based on the positioning of the brackets here, we're looking at Randy Orton against Carmelo Hayes. That's set. Okay, we already know that. And I think we're looking at LA Knight against Tama Tonga. So, are we getting Orton against Tama? Or are we getting LA Knight against Carmelo Hayes because Tama and Orton cost each other in the tournament? And they could have a match. I mean, they could do that match in Saudi Arabia completely irrespective of the tournament. But that's the question. Which direction are they going to go in here? Orton and Tama or LA Knight and Carmelo Hayes? It is looking very likely to me like Randy Orton is going all the way to the finals against Gunther in Saudi Arabia. And one of the reasons why, and it's not just because, oh, he's Randy Orton and because it would be a really good match. Yes, he is a big star, and yes, it would be a very good match. I'm kind of morbidly curious to see Randy Orton take some of that chop punishment from Gunther. How much punishment he would be willing to take in there. I mean, you saw Sheamus's chest after that show on Monday night. Holy shit, looks like ground beef. So yeah, I'm curious about all that. But here's the reason why I think Randy Orton is going to go. Something that happened in the match tonight. AJ Styles chop blocked Randy Orton. Randy Orton was selling the knee. He did a fantastic job, by the way, of selling that knee. He was pulling the knee pad down. I mean, he was milking that injury for all it was worth. And I look at that and I think back to how he beat Sheamus on Monday night. What happened on Monday night? Ludwig Kaiser got involved, right? He attacked Sheamus's knee. Sheamus's knee became the story for the second half of that match and factored into the finish. How did he lose? He tapped out. Something I think maybe once in his career, at least as a babyface, have I ever seen Sheamus tap out. He tapped out in a half crab to Gunther on Monday night. They're trying to get that half crab over. And I think they're doing that for a reason. And I think Randy Orton, he was selling the knee tonight. So was Bianca Belair, by the way, in her match. So, I mean, who's to say that knee injury won't factor into her next round match, too? I don't think you want the knee story to kind of overlap, though. But I think that knee injury is going to carry over into all of the remaining matches that Randy Orton has in this tournament. It might get worked over even more. Especially if he wrestles Tama Tonga and beats him. I can see the bloodline going after the knee, targeting the knee. He goes to Saudi, he wrestles Gunther. And that's going to factor into the finish. If they do that match, I think he ends up beating Randy Orton the same way that he beat Sheamus. I feel like they did that finish on Monday now for a reason. That could be how he beats Randy Orton if they clash in the finals of this tournament. So the knee injury, I think, could be the story here. I think that could be something to look at as we head to the finals, because I still feel Randy Orton is going to be the one going into that final match. And if he does, I don't see Gunther just beating him clean. I think they're going to want a story. They're going to want a handicap of some kind for him going into that match. And it made me think of how Sheamus tapped out on Monday. I think there's something to that. Overall, I thought SmackDown, it was a good show. Not a great show. Some of the matches were really shortchanged. Unfortunately, that's going to happen on a 2-hour show as opposed to a 3-hour show when you have so many tournament matches. They couldn't even do them all. That's why we have some at the house shows this weekend. But it was a very good main event between Orton and Styles. Nice little wrinkle there in the Bloodline story. So overall, like I said, a pretty good episode of SmackDown. Here's the Twitter poll. How would you grade SmackDown? From Wilkes-Barre. Well, let's see here. 68.5% of you say thumbs up. 21% thumbs in the middle. And 10.6% thumbs down. At Solomonster. On Twitter, that's where you can follow me. Let me know what you thought of the show. You guys know I always love hearing from you. You think I'm right? You think I'm wrong about the King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring? Get those messages on in and let me know. As I will take a look here at what you guys have to say. I'm going to go back to the beginning here because, again, we got a couple of bombs that came in before I even went live. But before I get to those, I got to start with our boy Clone Force. Hey, Clone Force, today is my 25th birthday. and you and JD are the GOAT. A Clone Force, happy birthday, brother. I hope that you had a great 25th birthday. I know you are with us tonight, but I hope that you will celebrate in some way. Don't go too crazy if you want to make it to 26. The Real CS. I am under the mindset that if Rock and Roman doesn't happen in Vegas next year, that WWE should give up on it and move on. That is not going to happen. If it doesn't happen in Vegas next year, it will happen. I agree, though. It should be Rock and Roman next year. It was going to happen last year. And then it was going to happen this year. So now they're going to skip it next year. I swear to God, it's going to be 5 years before they even do the match. Rock will be 55, 56 years old. I mean, it's like, come on now. They should do it next year. But right now, the plan seems to be Rock and Cody. Unless they do the 2-night thing again. He wrestles Cody one night, he wrestles Roman the next. Hey, it's The Rock. If he wants to take over both nights of WrestleMania again, he can do whatever he wants. He's on the board. The Real CS, like me, they have been trying for years, and Rock is not getting any younger. So that was his second half of the Super Chat. Yeah, I mean, look, Rock is not getting any younger. You're right. You're not wrong about that. I mean, you and I are in agreement. I would do the match. I would do the match next year instead of holding off for another 2 years. I think that's too long. You're also, in that case, you're also counting on this Bloodline story to stay fresh for that entire time, and I don't know. You may be asking for a lot there. So I'm not so sure about that. Again, we got some more early ones here before we get to the ones on the oh wait, maybe we are caught up now. Yes we are. Okay, so we're caught up now. Yeah, again, some of the early ones come in, they don't show up here on the list for some reason, so. Josh Carlos, 88. Steiner 2000 shoot promo and all-timer. I'm more interested in the Steiner math promo from TNA. Samoan fan, fun fact. 10 years ago now was that awful Raw storyline with Daniel Bryan running away from Demon Kane. Do you remember, with Brie screaming in the car? I do. That was actually after WrestleMania when Bryan won the championship, right, in 2014. And that was a terrible fucking storyline, and they did him no favors, but he was hurt. So that whole post-WrestleMania period was just a total disaster for him, unfortunately. Josiah Ball, thank you for the $2. Kevin Dunn's Beaver, our friend is back. Our Beaver friend is back from the other night. How can Solo be a leader when he is a loser? Man, that's pretty deep. I gotta say, for a Beaver, that's a pretty deep question there. I don't know. It's a good question. Casey is Raw. I Show Speed gotta be the worst YouTube name of all time. It's definitely not better than Solomonster. The Juliet. Sammy Guevara's AEW suspension is apparently over. Well, his suspension may be over, but he is still nowhere to be found on TV. Let's see here. See, I knew there were a couple of 50 bombs. I want to get to those first here. They came in early. There we go. Here we go. All right, they're coming up a little bit later on. We'll get to you guys. I haven't forgotten about you guys that dropped bombs on me earlier. NWO Matt with the 1992. Hey, Solomonster, do you see Solo in the Bloodline killing Heyman? It felt off watching the hug, having him tell him, I love you. I think it's possible they could do a big beatdown angle on Heyman, but it wouldn't be until we're closer to the time that Roman comes back. They're not going to do anything to him now. It's kind of like when Brock Lesnar would disappear after WrestleMania. Heyman would stick around. That was the entire reason they actually put him with Cesaro 10 years ago after WrestleMania. It wasn't to push Cesaro. They just wanted Heyman on TV every week to say that, the 1 in 21-1, he conquered the streak. Heyman is the buffer there until the guy is ready to come back. You can't beat him up and take him off TV now. He's important. He's integral to the story. When we are closer to the point that Roman Reigns is ready to come back, then they might do a beatdown angle on it. But they're not going to do anything before that. Jason Barker, the IWC Tribal Chief. How's it going? I'm from JD's channel, and I hope everything is well with you. I want to give some support. I know, Jason. I know who you are. Well, thank you, Jason. That's very kind of you. I appreciate that. Also one of our new channel members. Jerome Eugenio, in your opinion, what is the best tag team entrance music ever? Would you yell at me if I said Billy and Chuck? I mean, how could I say anything other than the American Males? How can that be topped? How are you going to top the American Males theme song? Come on. The lyrics are a little complicated, though, but if you rehearse them over and over again, then you get used to what they are. Boots with the $5. Do you think Saraya and her little friend are the ones who attacked Monet? Maybe they interfere in the Double or Nothing match and cost Monet the match. She's talking about Mercedes, who has a TBS title match coming up with Willow Nightingale in Las Vegas. I think that's a possibility. I think that's actually a possibility. That would be a way to not have her win the title, keep the belt on Willow for a little while longer. There's history between Mercedes and Saraya. I'd be shocked if they don't do that match anyway at some point, because they could play off the fact that, she hurt Saraya in WWE and caused her to retire and lose 5 years of her career, 6 years of her career. So there's history there. I honestly had totally forgotten about that backstage segment where Mercedes got beaten up and left for dead when the lights went out. I have not cared about anything they've had her doing. I just am waiting for her to get in the ring and wrestle. This whole stretch, ever since she debuted in Boston at Big Business, has been a complete waste of time. I'm not even sure why. I'm not even sure why they needed her on TV that early. I just want to see her back in the ring wrestling. Navy. Hey, Drew Johnson, a channel member for 30 months, is joining us here. What's up, Solomonster? HBK.
Do you feel him, sir?
I feel Drew. I feel the power of Drew. HBK Bay, he says. Navy says at the next show, Tony Khan should release the footage from the Ric Flair meltdown. He might get an extra 50,000 viewers out of it. He could use him if you saw the numbers for Dynamite this week. Alex says, Brother Solo, with the plethora of injuries currently affecting the roster, how do you see Triple H and WWE approaching this situation, especially come during SummerSlam season? I mean, how is he supposed to approach it? I mean, people get hurt, and you've got to work around it. There's nothing... He's not going to change the way that he's conducting business. I mean, there have been talents. Randy Orton, just this past week, somebody went up to him in an airport and harassed him for an interview. And he was kind enough. He gave the guy like a 10-minute interview, and it actually made news this week. And he was talking about how different things have been under the Paul Levesque administration, where now he feels like he could go. His back gets a little stiff every now and then. He says, yeah, I go to Paul and say, Paul, you know what? I'm thinking maybe I get this next week off. Not feeling, and he's like, yeah, sure, whatever. So if you take care of your talent, you hope you give them a week off or a few days off here and there where they need it. They could save their bodies, but it's a tough business. People get hurt. People get hurt doing the most innocent things. It could be doing a leapfrog. Somebody gets hurt. You could have a total freak injury. People get hurt. You just have to have depth on your roster. And hope. A lot of it is just hoping and praying that as you're going into a big show like SummerSlam, somebody doesn't get hurt and go down with a serious injury. But I'm not sure what else he could be doing. So do I think that he's going to change the way that he's doing business? I don't. They just had a draft. So they've already called up some new faces from NXT. I'm not sure what else he could be doing. Red Emissary of Darkness. What if Jacob joined Roman and Hikuleo joined Solo? Well, Hikuleo's contract with New Japan is not up supposedly until next month. I don't know if they're going to bring him in right away, if he wants to come over, which I'm sure ultimately he will. You know, he will end up there. But I was just talking this past week about where I think Jacob Fatu may land, and I think that for the sake of keeping things even on both sides, I mean, put Hikuleo away on the side for a second. I think it might make more sense, you know, to debut him on the babyface side with the Usos against Solo and the Gorillas of Destiny. You know, we didn't see Jacob in France. I think it'll be very telling if we don't see him in Saudi. Because we know he's signed, and we know that he's coming in. We just don't know when. If he's not in Saudi Arabia, it could be a situation where he can't travel out of the country. I've talked about this before. You know, he was in jail or prison or whatever, you know, in his younger years. He has a record. He has a criminal record. And I was always of the impression that that may have been one of the things that scared WWE away from him in the first place and why he stuck with MLW for so long. Or else he would have been there a long time ago. So I still, and we've heard nothing reported about this, but I still think you can't discount the possibility that he may just not be able to travel internationally. And they're doing so many international shows now that, you know, he just may not be able to go. So maybe that's why they're waiting and they're holding off, and maybe we get to June, July. Although Money in the Bank, I think Money in the Bank might be in Canada. I don't know how that would work. But just, I don't know, just food for thought, I guess. It's at least a possibility. We may not see him on that show either. Kentucky Fried Chicken without flavor says, what if Carmelo Hayes was the one who secretly injured Bobby Lashley off screen? Yeah, somebody else floated that idea to me on Twitter. You know, it's possible. I mean, they were very clear that he got injured in training, which I guess doesn't mean anything. And Hayes made a snide comment about him in a backstage segment. So is it possible? Yes, it's possible. It is possible. Gritty Grizzy with the $9.99. Hey Solo, what are your top 5 WWE theme songs? Mine are The Fiend, World's Strongest Ass Kicker, Mark Henry, Hollywood Rock, Eddie Guerrero's heel theme, and Chris Benoit. Well, my favorite WWE theme song's Real American, number 1. Demolition. Both, by the way, Rick Derringer themes. So, shout out Rick Derringer. Hollywood Rock. I love the Hollywood Rock theme. I think Hollywood Rock's theme is just, it's so fucking good. It's just such a good beat. And that guitar, oh man, it's perfect. So, I would say Hogan, Demolition, Hollywood Rock, and then it gets a little harder. It gets a little harder at that point. You know what though? I probably would throw Shawn Michaels on that list because Shawn Michaels' theme is still, it's so singable even after all these years. Don't tell me that you haven't at some point or another over the years been alone at home or in the shower and you haven't started singing Sexy Boy. Okay? If you say no, you're a fucking liar. I refuse to believe that you haven't at least done that once in your life. Okay? Maybe I've done it more than once. I don't know. But I think I got to put Shawn on there. But the 3-6 Mafia theme for Mark Henry, you know, 3-6 Mafia did a live rendition of that on SmackDown once many years ago. I can't even believe they wasted that on a random episode of SmackDown. That should have been like a WrestleMania entrance for him. That's a pretty badass song too. Yeah, I mean, I could give you those first 3, but then I really got to sit down and I got to give that some more thought. Yeah, you know, Stone Cold, the Disturbed version of the song, which I don't know why that's not on Spotify. Yeah, obviously, it's some kind of a rights issue, but I really wish they would get that up there. on Spotify. We got some. There were some here. See, I knew I wasn't crazy. There were some that came in earlier that we missed. So let me get those now before we go on the list here. Real CS, thank you for the additional super chat here. Ignore my part in the second super. Yeah, I did see that. Donnie Yasu, watched my first TNT because you were on. Great show. Well, thank you, Donnie. I'm very happy that you enjoyed Tuesday Night Titans with JD and myself over on his channel, which just hit 50,000 views today. So thank you all for that very much. That is up there if you missed it. Go check it out and leave some feedback. I hope you enjoyed it. More to come, including this upcoming Tuesday. Bobby's World with the $10 super chat. I am glad that we beat the Be the Booker buzzer on Wednesday so that we could get the Spirit Squad against the Spirit Squad and Cameron versus Wendy Chu. I laughed so hard. You're a masochist, aren't you? He's a masochist, this guy. DEH Sires, could you see Gabe Kidd succeed in WWE? I could. Probably a stop in NXT first, but yes, I could. Kentucky Dried Chicken with the $5.99. Here's my pitch for my King and Queen of the Ring winners. They get a huge package deal reward. My pitch package deal will surprise people. DEH says, aside from the 3 minutes at Backlash, Jade has been looking good. She looked good tonight. Like I said, I gave her credit earlier. She looked good in the ring tonight with Piper Niven. And outside of those few minutes there during the tag team title match last weekend, she looked good. Colin C was the first to drop a $50 Gunther bomb earlier on before I went live. Hey, Solomonster, today is my 50th birthday. See, 50 for 50. I see what you did there. Can you give me a shout out? By the way, do you think they should have kept the tag team titles unified, allowing them to float between shows like the women's? The answer is yes. I would not have split the titles. I would have changed the titles. I love those SmackDown belts. Those belts are fucking gorgeous. So I would have changed the belts, made them the SmackDown belts, the physical belts, and I would have kept them together. I stand by what I've said. I don't think that the tag team divisions individually are strong enough to support 2 sets of tag team titles, and I think it would be better if they were still unified and you allowed the champions to float. But Colin, happy 50th birthday, brother. Thank you very much for the support. That is very kind to you. And hey, here's the 50 more. Right? Why not? Here's the 50 more. Hopefully you got good genes in your family. I don't in mine, but hopefully you do in yours. Thank you, Colin. And Coggies dropped a $50 super chat as well. Can't watch live. I will catch up tomorrow. Hope my town showed up tonight. That's right. He's a Wilkes-Barre guy. I'm donating my concession money that I could have used for maybe a 16-ounce beer and a pretzel. You know what? In most arenas, that would cost more than $50 these days. But Coggies, thank you, man. And again, thank you for the email earlier. Shared some information with me. Thank you, Coggies. WWE Wrestling and Gaming. When John Cena officially retires, what would his greatest achievement be? What is his legacy? I mean, that's kind of a loaded question there. What is the legacy of John Cena? You know what? I think the legacy of John Cena will end up being something that is far more important than anything that I think he's ever done inside the ring, which is all the Make-A-Wish stuff that he's done. I mean, that's a pretty big deal, you know, to have the all-time Wish record when you consider all the celebrities over the years, including Hogan. And Hogan was a big Make-A-Wish guy for the company back in the day. And he was requested a lot, you know, during his peak. But all of that stuff that John Cena has done is priceless. And yeah, and I understand why he would have been kept babyface for as long as he was, and wouldn't have wanted maybe to be anything else. I mean, there was that one period in 2012 where he came very close to going heel. When you see the kind of stuff that he does in those situations, you understand it. And to me, when I think of him, honestly, that is one of the first things I think of. I think of 600 plus wishes or whatever it is. I mean, that's a pretty big fucking deal. More than anything that he's ever done inside the ring. Beyond that, when I think of John Cena, I think of someone who was pushed very fast, very soon, pushed in a way where the fans rebelled, and then we saw for the first time really in my wrestling fandom, and maybe for the first time really ever, someone at his level being pushed, where you had this 50-50 split where he would come out and he would get cheered by some and booed by a lot. And you would have the "Let's Go Cena, Cena sucks," and no matter how long it went on for, they just, you know, he's a merchandise seller for us and the Make-A-Wish stuff and everything else he's doing, and they were so resistant to change with him for so long. I think that's a big part of his legacy, because that was a period of many years that went on for. You had these mixed reactions, and he's supposed to be your top babyface. I think in many ways it was an indictment on Vince McMahon's booking. You know, he had his reasons
Samoa, bro.
You know, he had his reason for wanting to push Cena, even if the fans really weren't ready to see him as the top babyface and felt that he was being shoved down their throat because he was the guy that he chose, and he was the one, kind of the golden goose, making him money at the time, and, you know, basically like, fuck you, we're gonna push who we want. That's part of his legacy too. As far as like in-ring legacy and rivals, the first name that I always think of with Cena, it's not Randy Orton, and it's not even Edge. It's CM Punk. And I think back to Money in the Bank 2011 in Chicago. That was one of the greatest WWE title matches in the history of this company. The atmosphere in Chicago that night, the match itself, everything. Just the total 5-star segment, you know, from beginning to end. And when I think of his greatest rivals, I really do. I think of Punk. I know some people are going to put Edge first or Orton first. I don't. I think it's Punk and then Edge. And then probably Orton, or maybe Rock even. You know, that was a 2-match WrestleMania program. So I don't just boil his legacy down to any one particular thing in the ring. But again, the Make-A-Wish stuff, I think, is something that you have to think of that. You have to think of that. It is a very cool achievement that he has. And again, something that he never sought to have publicity for. That was all WWE. Now, if it were up to him, it would have been on the down low. We wouldn't even know about any of this stuff. WWE said, oh, we can market this. It's good for our image. And that's why we found out about it. But he was very resistant to that for a very long time. Red Emissary of Darkness, just going to say it, the Mad Dragon King. Sounds nice. I wouldn't hate it. But if the winner is getting a World Championship match, way too soon for that. Evan Watson, buy or sell on better match with DQ finish. Austin Angle at SummerSlam 01 or HBK Foley at Mind Games 96. HBK Foley at Mind Games 96. Love that match. Love that match. The Juliet, WWE confirmed April 19th and 20th for WrestleMania. Yes, I'm aware. You don't have to tell me. I'm well aware. Barry says, why was Sting's hometown in all the WWE games every man's night? Who's that? Just dropped my pen. Every man's nightmare. Is that true? Is that what they build it as in the video games? I have no idea. That's very strange. That was Sting's hometown? Every man's nightmare? Remember Sable? When Sable used to come out? For all the... What would she say? For all the women... No, for all the men who came to see me and all the women who wish they could be me. Right? Wasn't that her catchphrase? I don't know why it made me think of that. Drew Johnson with the 20 bucks. What's up, Solomonster? Thank you for everything you do. You are the GOAT, my friend. Go HBK. Hey, Drew, thank you, man. That's right. I'll even shout out HBK for you. Botchamania. Yeah, I know. I fucked up. I don't even know where it went. I dropped my pen. You ever notice when you drop shit, like you drop it and it rolls? It doesn't matter what it is. It will roll under something. It will roll to the farthest part of the fucking room. It will roll into the dirt. It will roll into the fucking glue trap. It will roll into something. It can't just fall. It has to fall and roll. Like it's doing it on purpose. Trying to fuck with you. I can't tell you how many times this happens to me. Kentucky Fried Chicken.
By the power of Valhalla, it's vintage coal tar.
Oh, it's coal tar. We don't get to see coal tar very often. We see Gunther. But for $1 extra, you get coal tar. With the antlers on his head. Hey, Yukio rules. Thank you for coal tar. He was getting lonely. I'll get to you in a second. See, I'm happy I'm not the only one based on your comments here. See, I'm not the only one who drops shit and then it rolls. I knew I wasn't there. I mean, I sometimes think that my apartment is on a fucking slant. It doesn't make any sense. Kentucky Fried Chicken. The royalty package deal for the King and Queen winners. Number 1, a title match at SummerSlam. Number 2, they get to choose their own number slot at the Royal Rumble. And 3, they get to own WWE private jet for a year. You're overcomplicating. You cut out number 2 and number 3, and all you need is number 1. That's it. That's all you need. Of course, if you're going to do that, though, where your title match is at SummerSlam, then what you really should do is you should flip Money in the Bank and King and Queen of the Ring and have Money in the Bank in May and have King and Queen of the Ring in July. If the winner gets a world title match at SummerSlam, it doesn't make sense to have them win in May and then you have this huge gap until you get to August. So I would flip them, but I think your number 1 is right on point. Fire Panda with the $20 super chat. I'm just the sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I make them hot. I make them shiver. Their knees get weak whenever I'm around. They see me walk. They hear me talk. I make them feel like they're on cloud 9. Thank you, Fire Panda. The Winston Slip says, I'm just the sexy Kurt. I'll make your ankle hurt. All right. Thank you, Winston. Chris Mikesell. What is your favorite Jerry Lawler moment and calls? Sucks that WWE consider him as dead weight. I know it's a new era. I hope he does well. He is still under a Legends contract. He just doesn't have a broadcaster contract anymore, which is totally understandable because he can't broadcast right now. And even before he had his stroke, he wasn't broadcasting anything other than pre-shows, and it was very apparent even then that he wasn't really watching the product. He was just, reading shit. So there was no need to keep him under a broadcaster contract. I used to like it when Lawler would come out and he would commentate for his own matches when he was a heel and he would, wrestle jobbers on the syndicated shows. I always got a kick out of that. I can't really give you any Memphis moments because I wasn't really following the stuff he was doing in Memphis very closely. But at least in WWE, he was very entertaining when he would do that. So I'd probably go for that. Kentucky Fried Chicken says, I will tell you how WrestleMania Saudi Arabia can happen. WWE gets a $2 billion offer to host it. It's all about money. I'm going to talk more about that, by the way, on the podcast this weekend. I'm going to talk about that, and I'm going to talk about the outrageous prices for Clash at the Castle. You've got to be Scottish royalty to go to this show. Yukio rules with the $51. I always listen to your reviews at work, but I got tonight off. Keep up the great work like always. Hey, Yukio, thank you very much for the coal tar. $51 super chat. I salute you, sir. Gritty Grizzy with the $9.99. So me and my family want to go as wrestlers for Halloween. I can't decide between Macho Man or Rick. You don't cut me off, pal, Flair. And what should my wife, 2 boys, and daughter go as? Hashtag Solo decides. Well, I think you should go as Macho Man. I went as Macho Man one year. We had a meetup. We had a Halloween meetup, actually, in the city. Met up with some of you. And I was the Macho Man, and I may have had one too many. I wish I had one too few. I had a little one too many. And when we left, row Roman Reigns gently down the stream. Row Roman Reigns gently down the stream. Row Roman Reigns. As I was saying, I think I had one too many, and we had left the first place that we were at. We were going to go to another bar, and we're walking down 3rd Avenue in Manhattan at night, and all you have is like a drunken Solomonster dressed up as the Macho Man who is stumbling into 3rd Avenue. It's a miracle I didn't get run down. But I was also doing the Macho Man voice all night long, and that's a bad idea. It's a really bad idea. I thought I was going to start coughing up blood. I completely fucked up my voice, and I would not recommend that you spend hours doing the Macho Man voice. It's not a good idea. So for you, I would say you go as Randy Savage. Your wife, does your wife have a favorite wrestler? She could always go as that person. I mean, if your wife is a redhead, she can go as Becky Lynch. She didn't give me any information to work with here. You gave me no info. I'll tell you what, though, your 2 boys, they could go as the American males. Buff Bagwell and Scotty Riggs. And your daughter, who should his daughter go out as on Halloween? Well, if you're going to be the Macho Man, your wife could be Miss Elizabeth, and then your daughter could be AJ Lee. How about AJ Lee? How's that? You got Macho Man, you got Liz, you got AJ Lee, and you got the American males. Lust for Elizabeth. Those eyes. Lust Elizabeth. You turn my guts into. You want to come at me man to man for the belt? I would beat you 1, 2, 3. That would be okay. Hey, Terry Allen, 1975. Thank you for the $9.99. Look at that. Terry Allen coming in. Kevin Dunn's Beaver. Solomonster versus The Pen. WrestleMania 41. Hell in a Cell. Barry says, thoughts on what the fans did to Sky Blue? Well, I think it was one fan. And I don't know exactly what was said, but obviously it was horrendous, and apparently he was there with his daughter. So it just goes to show you that it's very easy in this world to have a child. That does not mean that you are fit to be a parent. And I don't think there's any place for people like that to come to a show. It's one thing to come and boo and you know, be a wrestling fan and chant certain things, but whatever it was that he was saying was obviously very inappropriate and very different than what people are normally there chanting at wrestling shows. So if they felt it was bad enough to actually get security over to kick him out, I hope they did, and I hope they ban him, and I hope he's not allowed to come back in the future. Kentucky Fried Chicken, no private jet for the king and queen winner. No, no private jet. You don't get access to the jet. The jet is off limits. MLK with the $10 super chat. Cody and Roman each have a win apiece. I think the main event of SummerSlam should be the rubber match with Cody going over, which leads to Roman being officially exiled from the Bloodline. Well, I mean, if they're not going to do Cody and Randy Orton at some, which I think would be a SummerSlam match, I think it could be a WrestleMania match, but that could also be a SummerSlam match. Roman and Cody, they are tied. That is true. They're tied at 1 win apiece. You could do that. You could do that. You could do that. Bobby Means, could you see Liv Morgan joining the Judgment Day? And could this be where Mommy turns babyface? Liv Morgan with the Dirty Dom is interesting. I don't think she's going to join the Judgment Day. I think that she is maybe going to try to seduce Dom as a way to get back at Rhea. Remember what she said. She's going to take everything away from Rhea. And that doesn't just mean the women's title. It means Dominic. So she's definitely going to try something there. Joining the Judgment Day, though, I don't see that happening. All right, we are caught up now on your messages. Really annoying me where this pen is. Oh, here it is. It's under my foot. Got the pen. There we go. We got the pen back. There we go. Over there you go. Rolled over there. It was right under my foot. All right. Thank you guys for the super chats. I think we're all caught up on that. You guys hit the goal too, man. You smashed the goal. 400 likes was the goal. We are currently at 444 likes here on YouTube tonight. And by the way, we are getting very close to 80,000 subscribers. So thank you for getting me that much closer. Hopefully we will hit that goal in the next couple of days. But if you are not subscribed, now would be a great time to subscribe to the channel and help me get closer to 80K. And as we wait for that to happen, let us go. You won't have to wait much longer to be the booker. Let's get to it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the booker.
DEH Sires, if only Jeff Hardy did not leave WWE in 2009. You mean the same Jeff Hardy who left WWE and then like a week later his home got raided by the feds? I think WWE dodged a hell of a bullet with that one, is what I think. All right, be the booker time. Start out with the women this time, just to change things up a little bit. Women's be the booker, maybe it'll be good luck. We usually start with the tag teams. We had quite the opening salvo on Wednesday night. We had Spirit Squad against Spirit Squad, which was a terrible match. Hopefully we can do better here with the ladies. You know, it's funny. We land on this woman quite a bit, and I don't even know where she is. Is she still with the NWA? I haven't seen her in a while. Allison Kay is kicking us off here in Women's Be the Booker. Is she still with the NWA? I have not seen Allison Kay in quite some time. So I'm not actually sure who she's signed with right now. I know it's not WWE or AEW. Allison Kay going to go one-on-one with Lita. Lita. There you go. Look at Lita. Look at Lita. Lita was a looker. She's streaming on Twitch. Is that what she does now? Or does she wrestle? That doesn't really answer my question. Hey, look at that. It's the Natural Disasters. Look how happy they are. I don't know why that's frozen on them, but let's do tag team be the booker. Boy, they looked happy, didn't they? Didn't they look happy? They looked very happy. All right, tag teams. Around and around it goes, and we begin with Strike Force, the team of Tito Santana and Rick the Model Martel. You know, I did not know, up until fairly recently, I was not aware of the fact that I believe Tito Santana has a love child. And I think she actually wrestles professionally. I think she's actually a pro wrestler now. But I don't think that the daughter or Tito found out until sometime in the last few years. And again, my understanding, and I could be wrong, but my understanding is that she's attempted to reach out to him and he just shut her out. Which is pretty shitty if that's the case. I always thought Tito was a stand-up guy, but that's a pretty shitty thing to do if that's true. All right, Strikeforce, with those tag team titles, are going to defend those tag team titles. One of my favorite Tito moments is at WrestleMania 8. As Reba McEntire was done singing at the beginning of the show and she was walking out, El Matador was walking in and they passed each other in the aisleway like two ships in the night. And Bobby Heenan on commentary said, that's his sister, Reba McEntire. I fucking died because it's Bobby Heenan. It's a great fucking line. Strikeforce against Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik. See, that's classic old school wrestling. Sheiky baby. Former tag team champions. Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov. Reba McEntire. It's just such a great line. Only Bobby would come up with that. And now we get to the main event. Here we go. Men's Be the Booker. A lot of big names. You see some of them in there. You sneak a peek. You see some of those names. We're going to start out with the man who I was just talking about. Somebody asked me about this man's legacy, and look at who we land on. John Cena. With his green hat and his green shirt. I think he had shirts for every color in the crayon box. We've seen him in green, orange, red, blue, yellow, white, black, right? He's had black shirts as well. Purple? Yeah, oh yeah, he had purple. That's right. He had purple shirts. I'm sure I'm missing some. Every color was represented. And you know he sold a gazillion of them. Hey, Moshi. Just subscribe to the channel. Brings us that much closer to 80K. We're one step closer. All right, here we go. John Cena. This is going to be a big deal right here. Big main event coming up. Who's it going to be? John Cena going to go one-on-one with Shingo Takagi. Former IWGP champion Shingo Takagi. You know, we hear people in AEW call themselves the best bout machine. Kenny Omega and Okada have been going back and forth. Will Ospreay would have that crown right now, for being honest. I don't think this man gets enough love for the matches that he has. For as highly rated as he is, I still feel he's underrated. Shingo is a tremendous wrestler who does not get the love that he deserves. That belt, by the way, while I have warmed a little bit more to the design, I still wish they would bring back the last version of the IWGP title. It was so much better than that. It was so much better than that. And I still cannot for the life of me understand why they got rid of it. You know, it's one thing when you change these belts, if you upgrade. When you downgrade, though, I never really understood that. I mean, that's the case with so many WWE titles over the years. Why would you downgrade when you have such a great design? I mean, if you want to make little updates to it, I get that. But John Cena against Shingo Takagi. That would have been a tremendous match, actually. At one time, that would have been a tremendous match. The belt looks like Cody's logo. Actually, the current IWGP belt was inspired by some of the older belts. It drew some inspiration from that. But, yeah, no. Can't hold a candle to the last design of the championship. Shout out to Austin Tucker in the chat. Thinking about you, brother. Hopefully all works out well there. I know he's had some stuff, unfortunately, some drama going on in his life, so we're all thinking about him. Austin usually joins us in the chat here for these streams. Hey, David, what's going on, man? David Thering coming in with the $2. Favorite belt design of yours is the one to my left over my shoulder. The original winged eagle. See the big eagle? Pretty cool. The winged eagle right there, all-time classic. That's why you see it hanging behind me every single week here on the streams. Cannot be matched. All due respect to the big gold, because that original big gold that Flair carried around back in 86, 87, that's a sweet belt. It's a sweet looking belt. I like it even more than the big gold that WWE had. Just, it didn't look as, you know why it didn't look as good? Too much leather around the edges. Too much. You gotta let the plate come right up to the edge almost. I think that's what annoyed me about the big gold belt in WWE when they introduced it in 02. We have got Adam Casper coming in with the $7. Says, you and JD are the very best, no doubt about it. And SmackDown was a complete sellout, full house in Wilkes-Barre. Yeah, so the shows are still, not in every market, but the shows are still selling out. Business is still doing pretty well, even though Rock is gone, Roman is gone, Rollins is out. I mean, they're missing a bunch of people right now. Rhea is off TV. So they're missing a lot of people, but they're still booming. The question is, for how long? For how much longer? Can't last forever. Hey, Kentucky, what's going on? It says The Mask, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, Waterboy, and Wayne's World. Delete one of these movies. Ace Ventura. It was nice knowing you. I was never a big Ace Ventura guy. I liked The Mask. I liked The Waterboy. Wayne's World, obviously, is a classic. Gotta say goodbye to the Pet Detective. Episode 861 of The Sound Off is coming your way this Sunday, Mother's Day. So a happy early Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Dark Side of the Ring wrapped up this week with an episode on Black Saturday. What they called Black Saturday, the rise of Vince McMahon. It's like the rise of some evil movie villain. I'm going to have a big-ass review on that episode with a lot of history that was not addressed. You guys know the drill. I always fill you in on the backstory and the history and all the stuff they don't cover in the episodes. And so I've got that, a ton of news as well to get into. I am going to talk about Ric Flair. I'm going to talk about a story. This is my favorite story of the week. I don't even want to give it away. It's not the Flair story, although I will talk about that. But there was a story that flew under the radar. It is so ridiculous. And it actually involves both WWE and AEW. So I'm going to talk about that as well. So that'll be episode 861 on Sunday. Make sure you check that out. Make sure you are subbed on Apple Podcasts, on Spreaker, the free app, on Spotify. Anywhere you get your podcast, you guys know how to get the sound off. Hey, Cameron Spencer, did you see the clip of a guy tombstoning another off a roof through a table? They ended up breaking their spines. I did not see that. I'm not sure I want to see that, but you've heard of Darwin, right? Evolution. You've heard of these different things. Yeah. Life has a certain way of working out where the dum-dums do dumb things, and then, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. I mean, that's what happens. So I'm not surprised. But no, I didn't see that, actually. Yeah, Google Podcasts is gone. Google Podcasts disappeared at the beginning of April. But I gave everybody plenty of warning about that, so I think I told you 6 months in advance that Google was shutting down Google Podcast. So hopefully by now you have found a different platform to use, I would hope. Was it Superhuman? Was it him? Clone Force. If Orton makes it to the finals, do we see Fatu cost Orton the match in their final, or do we see him cost Jay on Monday? I think there's a better chance we see McIntyre cost Jay on Monday. You saw that death stare that McIntyre gave him after he beat Balor on Monday? Fatu, again, I'm not convinced that Fatu is even going to be allowed in Saudi Arabia, so I don't know. I don't know what they're holding him out for. And the Juliet says, no clean sweep music. No, I forgot. We'll have to save it for next time. I totally forgot. I was so focused on my pen here, making sure he's in good health. He's been injured. Justin says, I landed on Spotify since Deezer is still not showing the pod. Yeah, fuck Deezer, man. What's going on with Deezer? Don't worry. Spotify's got you covered. Don't you worry about that. All right. Thank you for the great week. I hope you guys will be back with me on Monday night. We're going to be talking Monday Night Raw. Thank you again for all of the great feedback and all the kind comments that JD and I both got for our debut episode of Tuesday Night Titans. Again, 50,000 views and counting for that show from Tuesday. It is archived over on his channel if you want to check it out. I will be back with him live on Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern this week and every week going forward. So I hope that you will show some love and show some love on all of the streams here on this channel as well as we climb towards 80,000. So be well, stay safe, have yourselves a great weekend and a very happy Mother's Day to those celebrating. Yes, the pen towards ACL. Much like every woman, it seems like in WWE developmental. My poor pen now has a torn ACL. And shout out, by the way, to Kenny Omega, who did announce on Twitch that he's going to be undergoing a major surgery soon. He probably will not be streaming for a while on Twitch. I believe he is having surgery for his diverticulitis, finally, getting that taken care of. So I don't know when exactly, but good luck to him. Hopefully we'll be able to get him back in the ring against Okada soon enough. I'll see you guys back here live for the Raw stream on Monday night. Until then, have a good weekend. Take care, guys. Oh my goodness, what is going on here? We got a full house. We got a full house in studio. What is that smell? Oh, fuck, I gotta change the litter box. Oh, Batman, you'll take care of it. I'll take care of her. I'll see you guys next week. Some of these comments. He left the $40 on the dresser. Oh my God. Oh, you're too much.
Fuck Kevin Dunn.